fighting each other. Let them be. There once.
Kill.
Nice.
High squad showing up. Nice. Let me know when you're doing stuff like that. I'm going to get involved. Oh, look at this. Bam! Well, hello. All right, let's get everything up here real quick, and then we will do the whole intro thing. Why is this not? Oh, we went to the wrong channel. We went to the wrong scene, guys. There we go. There's some faces. So why don't you go ahead and hit the old spiel there for everybody?
Oh, we're going?
Yeah, we're live. We're going. We're doing this.
Way to count me in. You got to do the whole 3, 2,
You guys
1,
are going to see the behind
roll.
scenes. 3,
Well,
2, 1, roll.
Howdy, y'all, and thanks for joining us, and welcome to the show. We're a couple of disabled guys passionate about all things accessibility. I'm Ricky, your local quadriplegic. With me, as always, is Bill, the man with weak muscles but a strong heart. And
True.
last but not least, we have John. He may not be able to see, but always has a sight for sore eyes. Together, we make up real life problems. A cod piece. A podcast by the disabled for the disabled, and I guess the able-bodied too.
Yeah,
Welcome.
We're just a cog piece in a giant wheelchair. Ooh, think
It
about
seems that way.
That's a terrible mix up for podcast.
Maybe that's not, that maybe maybe I shouldn't make the world as a wheelchair analogy. I don't know if that, because sometimes my wheelchair causes damage. Like
Welcome to
earlier.
Real Life Problems. We're your local cod piece. How can we help you?
Come on down. All
right. How are you individuals each doing today on this wonderful day of the apocalypse?
Day 100.
I'm good.
200 and whatever of apocalypse. I don't know. I've lost count. It's probably not that. It's probably not that. I don't know. I don't know if it's that many days, but whatever.
I think we're like on 80 something.
Something like that. Something like
the
that.
apocalypse started around mid-March. That's when things started like locking down.
Yeah.
That was about 3 months ago. Close to it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because remember, one of the last things, the last time I went out to a restaurant was for a friend's birthday, and it was the week before things just were
yeah,
literally legitimately shut down. Like they're just starting to get trickling. People were just starting to like trickle out, and we went to a restaurant, and there was only like one other table in there, and we were talking to the waiter. He's like, "So what are you guys gonna do?" He's like, "Oh, we're gonna do delivery and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, okay," and then everything else followed, and then like 2 days later, the world was like, we're going to just close it all down. And now, since then, I have not really seen the outside world other than doctor's appointments. Nope, that's a lie. Actually, 2 days ago, I went to a park and saw some actual real faces for once.
Oh, wow. So people exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't been, another thing that I've noticed, I was talking to my mom about this, and like, I've gone out to drive a little bit, guys, and let me tell you, these people are crazy. Like, they're running red lights, and they're speeding, because, like, cops aren't as like amped to be like, I don't want to get the COVID, so maybe not pull over people as
I think
much.
cops have a whole other issue in their hand right now.
Oh, there's a whole other issue that yeah, there's a lot going on right now, um, in that department. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I just that's what I want to leave that as because I don't know. I've just been
Yep.
seeing so much on social media that I'm good. I'm good for right now. We're focused. We're accessibility focused here. Um,
Yep.
so
How
that
about you,
brings
John? How you
you
been doing? Because you've been just staring at your screen, remaining silent this whole conversation.
Yeah, I've been stone blocking it up. I've been lost in this mod pack from Minecraft called Stone Block
uh-huh.
We're not good
2.
enough for you anymore.
It's not that. Come on now, you know that.
He's a man obsessed.
Pretty much, Wheels. You got me.
Yeah.
Like you've seen what happens whenever I get lost in a game.
yeah. It becomes this obsession, but so that kind of brings us to like what I kind of thought up this whole idea about like, what how do you prefer to be addressed as a handicapped person? Like, I don't get all caught up on the labels. I know some people do, like, handicapable versus like disabled. Like, I don't get very. I'm not a very PC person, so I just kind of like. But I think it really comes down to how the person wants to be addressed, and I think that's really my ideas on it. I don't know. Where do you guys
Well, you
kind of
brought up the
sit?
question, how do you like to be addressed? Do you like to be addressed as like, hey, there, muscles, or like,
Hey,
chair
muscles.
boy,
Hey, big boy.
chair boy, beardy?
Come back here, chair boy. No. I don't care. I mean, I say some self-degrading humor sometimes, like I call myself a cripple or whatever. And I don't think we should ever be addressing people who just cripple. That's not good. I might, other friends of mine, we might joke and be sick about it, but I don't know. But then there's also like the handicapable thing. Like if someone just says if they ask me like say in a conversation where they're like they're trying to ask me about it, I don't mind if they use the word disability. Hey, what's your disability? Um, because I don't know. I don't see that as being somehow offensive, but I think some people may take it that way potentially. But I don't really, I just see that as someone being curious and just wanting to know something. But so I'm usually pretty
Well, do
flexible.
have you ever had a moment where someone's addressed you and you're like, that was kind of fucked up?
Um, I guess kind of like when they I don't know why they do this, but some people will refer to people like at least me. I've gotten like, um, what's going on, big guy, or like, oh come over here, big guy, or something like that. And I'm just kind of like, are you saying that because I'm fat, or is it the wheelchair making me look fat? I mean, I I don't really know. I mean, I'm not really offended. It's just more like kind of like I feel like they're almost addressing me as if I'm a child, maybe or something,
Right.
and that's how it kind of comes off. And I'm kind of like, why are you doing that? Like, it's not really like I don't go away from the conversation mad, but just kind of like, that was a little weird interaction, like, or like, someone coming up to me and saying, man, you're awesome. And it's just like, why are you saying I'm awesome just because I'm in a fucking wheelchair? Like, oh, I'm doing some great thing because I'm in a fucking wheelchair. I'm some hero because I can stand this pitiful thing that's been placed on me in life. I mean, it's just like I'm not expecting accolades for this fucking, you're doing good, buddy, because you can deal with the bullshit. I mean, it's just you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about when people like,
Well, those are the people that usually just their immediate reaction is just pity.
yeah, and I'm just like sympathy is not I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm looking for empathy. At least, if you're going that route. I mean, I'm not necessarily begging for that either. It's just if you're going to go that route, I would prefer empathy over sympathy. Because
Right.
sympathy, you're just feeling bad for me. Like empathy, you're actually thinking about what the person is going through. as an individual, as opposed to just because I mean that actually makes you think, oh well, that would kind of suck because this, that, and the other,
Yeah.
and then you just kind of just address, talk to me like you would any other person, don't add any special.
That's all I ask.
Don't add any special flavor to it.
Well, then you're all just a bunch of shithead, no good for nothing pieces of poo poo.
Well,
That's how.
tell us how you really
That's
feel.
That's addressing you as a normal person, right? That's how I address the general public.
You're
Hey, there we
shit.
go. I'll accept it. I mean, if that's how you adjust the GP, then hey, yo.
It's like
I'm
you're
dead
all
like everybody
trash.
else. Then yay! Oh,
You're all trash, and you gotta prove yourself from there.
Every time I see it, every time I see a kid in the park, what's up, shithead?
Like,
just
I
like
don't know
everyone
you. You haven't proven anything.
else.
Like you have to
No,
prove.
I've had this conversation with another friend of mine about like whether he prefers being called a cripple or a handicap or disabled, and he didn't really have a good answer for the question. But I was like, I kind of prefer cripple because
I like
cripple
it.
sounds like something
It's
that's
endearing.
broken that can be fixed, but handicap is like a tomb that you're destined to forever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how funny would
That's
that
just my
be?
own spin on it.
Like on actual documentation, like doctors putting like cripple. Hey,
Oh,
like,
he's a cripple.
he's a cripple.
Just a little wee bit of a cripple.
Holy crapple, he's a cripple. Like Family Guy reference. Or Joe, us handicapped people are proud people.
I mean, it's true.
Like
I'm pretty
I
proud.
find humor in that show, but what I find interesting is how the world seems to be so accessible in that show. Because Joe can go like a lot of places, and I'm like, that's really interesting how that works. Like,
Well, there is one episode where they're on a boat, and this was like one of their early seasons where they're on a boat, and Joe rolls up to a ladder and just rolls up the ladder up to the second floor of the boat and just goes, eh, and that's it.
So I like how like there's some funny stuff that I found funny, like this device that like Peter goes to use his toilet, and it's like it's like this whole ridiculous like setup. Like you have to put like it's got all these straps and stuff, and it just made me laugh because I'm like, that's kind of a good commentary because some of the equipment does look like it's like some of the equipment that you have to involve yourself with as a handicapped person. You're kind of like, is that safe? Is that a torture device? Looks more like a torture device than it actually looks like this is going to help me.
True.
Like, do I want them to put me in this?
I don't really like Family Guy as much as I used to. I like their earlier seasons.
No, I agree.
More, but I will say they do address handicap humor pretty well.
Yeah, they do it
because
in a
they just
way that's
what they do is they address them as just one of the guys, and then every one of them has something different about them, and they make fun of that difference between them, not in like a derogatory or hateful way. It's just like it's how friends really act in the real world. We find something that we're uncomfortable about ourselves and we make fun of it.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know, and I think that's what and I don't know, I think that's what makes like great comedy a lot of times. It's just making commentary on just everyday things that we come across. It's just and some people may not like the self-degrading humor, but I think it can be done. Like it depends on how it's done.
Everything has a certain finesse level to it.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of how you do that. It looks like Big Boy said sometimes some people are obviously to others, people feeling all of us disabled people are just as normal as everyone else. We just have to work harder at life. We're stronger than the rest. I mean, I feel like that's an okay view to have. It's just
I don't know if I'd say we're stronger than the rest. I mean, I'm pretty weak in comparison to anyone else out here in the world, but I get where he's coming from. Strong, we're strong at heart, but not strong physically.
Yeah, maybe not in that
Some
way.
of us. There's some people who have like a freak handicap, or their handicap is they're freakishly strong.
Or it comes down to we all have different types of adversity that we have to deal with. And like it's just a matter of how you deal with it. And I think maybe stronger mentally would be more of my thinking because I feel like I feel like to be in this situation, I've had this conversation with friends before, where it was like, where they've even said that they're like, well, if I had what you had, I don't think I'd be able to handle it. And I'm like, I agree with you because I know you well enough, and I know that you just, and I know it sounds kind of like a negative thing. I mean, I think if they did, they would be able to potentially with the help, but I think they would be very stubborn to it. And I just feel like it, but that doesn't come
Ooh.
overnight. That didn't come overnight for me because I mean, obviously, I had accepted the fact that I had a muscle disease like early on, but then a bigger thing happened when I was 16, and that was going into the chair, and that was not a completely happy experience. I mean, it sucked. It sucked having to accept the fact that, well, this is how you're going to get around from here on out.
Hmm.
So
I've had people say that to me all the time too. It's like, oh, I don't know if I can handle living in your shoes. And I'm like, yeah, I like to. One thing I like to point out is like, yeah, I was like, no, you probably can't because you know why? Neither can I. Honestly, I can't handle it. Fucking sucks. I mean, I
yeah,
can
It
hand.
does.
it
Yeah, like
sucks.
I can handle it. But no, no, you're right. You're right to feel that fear. It fucking sucks, dude. Like,
It does fucking suck, but it's what you do with it is the big thing that I always tell people. Like let's not deny it. Like I mean, obviously not being in a wheelchair is a better option than being in one, but it's not a fucking option. It's not like it was a choice. It wasn't like I decided to go, be like, "Oh, my legs are going to stop fucking working right." It wasn't like that was a conscious decision. It's like I finally made the decision that I no longer want to walk and I want to make my life more difficult because I think I need the challenge.
you know what I hate is when people do address me when you get like it's always like this all the sweet old ladies that do it too. It's like
Hell
this
yeah.
happened actually once where
You
it's
got
the
the
people that
story.
single you out. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah,
Is
yeah, yeah.
one time I was
Remember?
Christmas shopping and this sweet old lady just like turns around and sees me and then she like we lock eyes and then I'm like, oh God, what's about to happen? She walks up to me and she's like, I just want to say Merry Christmas to you and your whole family and you're amazing. And God's gonna give you the strength to keep going on. And I was like, fuck you, lady. I mean, I didn't say that. I was just like, thanks,
Yeah.
but I want to be like, fuck you. What the fuck are you singling me out for? Why aren't you saying that to every single other person here walking around doing that? I was like, you singled me out because you thought it was a good idea to be like, oh, I'm gonna single him out and try and make him feel better about his life. It's like, no, fuck
Yeah.
you, bitch.
Yeah, maybe the intention was good, but it's like not good. Like it doesn't come off good. It doesn't come
No,
off
fuck
good
her
at all.
intention.
Yeah.
I'm bitter.
Yeah, but
I don't give a shit what her intention was. We don't judge others on intentions. We judge people on their actions.
yeah,
And
that's true.
her action was I'm gonna single this guy out and try and make him feel better. But you know what? I'm gonna piss him off. And I literally just wanted to like shake her, be like, all right, you want to treat me better, make me feel you want to make me feel good? Go up to every single person in the store and say that exact same thing to them. That'll make me feel better. That'll
Well,
make me feel like I'm not singled out.
do you think there was a was there like humiliation associated with that to you?
Oh, I wasn't humiliated. I don't care what the hell. It's just I'm just pissed that this person thinks that like
Yeah.
their
Yeah,
good
like
deed of
there
the day
yeah.
was to complimenting a guy in a wheelchair just to feel better about their shitty lives.
Well, I
Can you
think
tell
it
I'm
yeah.
can you tell I'm being pessimistic?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but you know, uh,
I didn't, you know,
got
it's being I'm coming up on 12 years and being in a wheelchair. And I just, I'm over that shit now. Like
look for Ricky's new book coming out soon. This shit sucks.
I when I worked at the bike shop, I even had that kind of stuff too happen to me all the time where a lady would come up
Really?
to me. Yeah, it was always sweet old ladies too. They'd come up to me and she like
But how sweet are
gently put
these old ladies actually, though? What's I mean?
sweeter than candy. But she'd come up to me, put her hand on my shoulder and just be
Uh,
like, God's got a plan for you. I'm like, fuck you. Why? Why? What is your need to come up to me and say that? Who gives a shit?
well, it's
I don't
like
know. What
it's
about
like
you,
why do
Johnny?
you what?
Have you had any instances like this where
Yeah.
people just address you in a weird way that you just irk you the wrong way, or have you had the opposite where someone actually was like, "Oh, hey, I'm addressing you in the way that you want to be addressed.
Oh, trust me, there was one individual who
here we
always
go.
used to treat me like I could not do anything at all, and it annoyed
Wow.
the crap out of me.
Can you give us an example of like a time when they were acting like that?
I offered to help wash dishes and was told that I couldn't wash them properly.
Really? How did you react to that?
I was like, okay, and I just went back to my game, steaming about it.
Yeah, but to
Okay,
me,
I offered to help. You refused me. Sorry.
to
Bye.
me,
that's
that's
when you
silly.
take the plates and just throw them on the ground and be like, clean these now, huh?
No, I'm not. I'm not that vindictive.
Well, you're a
No,
better
just take the
person than
plate and
I.
start. Yeah.
I'm
You
not
mean I'm not
that
supposed to do
vindictive.
this? I wouldn't do
You
that
know,
though
we are
because
not putting on a good image for the rest of the handicap community right now. Don't judge others based on us three. We are just
I'm
we
putting
are
on a better image than you two are. Come on
yeah,
now.
that's true.
Well,
You're
that's true.
you're looking a
Most
lot better
things
than
that
us.
we discuss.
You were like, I did the right thing and just went about my business. And then I'm over
But
here like,
I didn't.
fuck these fucking old ladies.
It's like uh um how old ladies have ruined my life. No.
For better or for worse.
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's going on? Oh man.
Hi,
Perhaps.
Steve. What is
Uh,
Steve saying?
Steve just said hi and hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. How do you like to be addressed? Notice how how I just went on a rant about hating being singled out and I just singled Steve out.
I need to. Why do I still have a giveaway command going? Every time, Steve, you always like to put that. You always like to do the giveaway command that I forget to turn off when we don't have a giveaway. I guess you're just hoping for the chance of a freebie.
You know what we're giving away?
Well,
Sage advice and moral ambiguity.
sure.
That's what we're giving away.
Potentially.
All right, let me ask you guys this question because I've actually had this problem where how do you address other handicapped people being handicapped? Do you ever have that sense of fear of like, oh God, did I address them wrong? Because I've had that too. And it's like, and then I've had handicapped people address me in a way that makes me feel like a shitty person. Like one time when I was still working at the bike shop, I had this situation where I was going to work and this guy saw me in my wheelchair. He pulls his car over, pulls his friend's wheelchair out, and then starts taking it. He's like, "Yeah, we need this, and this done to the wheelchair." He's like, "I see you're in a chair, you know, I know you can handle it." And a part of me was like, "He's right, but
Why are you
why
just
am I
assuming
mad for him
that?
assuming that?" Yeah,
It was the assumption that.
yeah.
It's like first it's being mad at old lady for like for singling you out. Now it's like someone assuming something.
But I've also been in a situation where I've been around people who are in wheelchairs, and then I'm like, I want to make like a joke at the expense of our situation, and I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't say that to them, and I'm like, wait, they are just me, and I have to get over that hurdle of like, wait, I'm treating others in my situation the way I hate being treated, and that's like, oh man, that's I have to stop myself from that sometimes because I guess we all have that same click in our brain, I guess you can say.
Yeah, so when they act like I'm not there because I'm not good enough for them. I like attention from people around me when they act like I'm not there because I'm not good enough for them. I think everybody's been there before. And then 710 boy was like, I can't do auto mechanics anymore. Depth perception is toast. Laugh my ass off. Been training myself now for 7 years to be able to play PUBG and other games. I address other handicapped people just as I do. Others, everyone in my eyes are equal, even through others don't do even though others don't do the same. I think is what he was trying to say there.
So he's got a problem with depth perception.
Well, I think
So
he
he's
has a vision issue.
you and John, you and him have a similar problem. Like how would you comment on that?
I really don't know, to be honest.
Because how was your depth perception?
Blind
Was
in
it
left
like
eye
from
is what his problem is. That's what 710's problem is.
what is it? Was it?
He's blind in his left eye. Don't know the other
Oh, okay.
streamers
And that
here.
came. That's he's making it sound like it came about over time. But John, how were you were from birth with your eyesight? Because it's a
Yep.
connection between your brain and your eyes, right?
Optic
Yep.
nerve, right?
So you never had that transition phase of like, oh, I know now I can't see, and
He just knows what he knows, like whatever the life
yeah,
is that he's had.
exactly.
Exactly. La la la. I can't like
He can't
words
words.
hard. What are they?
Words are too hard for a glitch sometimes, but they're too hard for me. So who am I to? Who am I? What am I saying?
Words are non-discriminatory.
Actually, the other streamer here is glitched up right above me. Ricky is just he's well, I guess technically he's a streamer now because he's on the channel, but he doesn't have.
I never do streams. I don't know what streams are. This is the only time I stream. I don't
But
know.
you do have a Insta that you're active on.
Sometimes.
Right? Maybe
I posted a picture of clouds the other day. That was it.
Yeah.
The Rickles,
He's giving
if
people
you got
some help. He's giving some people some hope with images of clouds. Fuck
the
old
Rickles, if you
ladies,
want to
though.
follow me, people message me and I'll message them back if they need my
Mine
5
was an
cents.
injury. There's metal in it. Oh damn! So you had some like crazy, like, damn, that's crazy. So did like metal shoot in your eye then? 710. What's the Steve? Sorry to hear. I've had a few close calls with my eyes. Oh, you have? Okay. Because I know Steve, you did some auto stuff. Steve's actually a good friend of mine. That yeah, I've known for a while.
Well, Steve, do you wear safety goggles now at all times to protect the other eye? Because I feel like I feel like I would.
Yeah, he probably has to do that though because of electrical work now. Because he was doing auto stuff, now he does, and he's done electrical for a while. So there are definitely risks associated with being an electrician in your eyes. I'm sure. I mean, obviously.
I mean, I think there's more than just risk to your eyes as an electrician.
Oh yeah, it's a
risking your whole body there.
I use safety as often as I can. Yeah, I mean, those are things you got to think about. Those are things you definitely have to think about, for sure.
Well, Steve, let me be the first. Maybe not the first. Let me be the first of us three to say, welcome to the handicap community. How would you like us to address you?
Yeah, so he actually doesn't like. I don't know if you have like. I don't know if he has any. Like, I don't know if you have any accessibility things.
What do you mean?
Any issues? I don't think he has any disabilities, but I don't know.
He just said depth.
No, 710 is the one that has the depth perception problem.
Oh, okay. See, this is I can't see the chat.
Steve doesn't have a disability.
Okay.
As far as I know.
I can't see the chat, so I don't. This is all just.
He's like, oh, his disability is being an ass, is what he says. There's a lot of people that have that issue.
Yeah, that's a pretty common one. I think I've had that one even before I was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, Ricky does not like old ladies. So if you're an old lady, get the fuck out.
Hey, I like old ladies. I like them just fine.
I'm just telling.
I just don't like sweet old ladies.
Oh, that's the problem. Don't be sweet. You gotta be rude.
They all have that same look too. You know, they all have like that cardigan sweater. They're like their white sneakers and their oversized blue jeans. They're carrying their purse. They're hunched over, and they're all like, "Oh, you poor thing. Something must bad happen to you. You want a candy for being who you are."
By the way, did I say fuck off?
It's true. I mean, oh, God,
I didn't
I
know there was
seriously,
such a vendetta against sweet old ladies.
dude, I used to get. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not out in like the world as much anymore. I'm not working at the bike shop. I'm not where a bunch of old people go, but I would get it all the time. It was so weird, just like people wanting to come up to me and pray for me. And you're like, I get it. You want to make yourself feel better about the fact that you have more than me when it comes to your
Yeah.
limbs. But best way to make me feel better is just by leaving me the fuck alone. Unless you have something of value to actually say, like, hey, wow, nice to meet you. What kind of person are you? Oh, well, I'm a dickhead. Then there we go. We'll leave it at that.
Hey, at least it's something valuable to say. At least they answered your question correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
um, yeah, but I don't know. I think the long and short of it would be that just, I don't know. I just want to be, I want to be treated like everybody else. I don't want any special, there's no special things that you need to say to me. Just address me as another person, another human being. No
You
special
know,
terminology. I work hard to be a dickhead. Laugh my ass off only on the weekends. So hey, you
it's
gotta
a
work.
weird, like, I don't know if dichotomy is the word I'm looking for, but it's the word I'm going to use that for lack of a better term. But it's like, yeah, we want to be treated the same as you, but I kind of like the perks that I get sometimes too, like
I like the parking spaces. I mean,
parking spaces,
getting to the front
um,
of lines a lot of times. Like,
getting in
bro,
the
go
front of the
up there,
line.
bro.
Yeah,
We got you, man. We got you. I know what you're going through. It's like you don't know what I'm going through, but thanks.
it's weird, like when like you want to play the handicap card or when you don't. It's like I don't want to play the handicap card right here, but if someone else wants to play it and hand it to me and say use it, I'll be like, okay,
Well,
I'll use it. Sure, why not?
like for instance, I do enjoy the fact that I can call 930 Club and be like, "Hey, can you get me closer to see Gore?" And they're like, "Sure." And that's a valid reason to get closer to those lovely members of Guar that
Hmm.
we all know and love. Um, I don't know. Concerts is definitely a thing. I mean, it's definitely kind of cool how they when they look out for.
Well,
Well,
same thing with movies too.
yeah.
Now I never do this. I always go up to the register expecting to pay my ticket. Be like, yeah, I'll go with like me and my friend, and we're like 2 tickets for Bed Shitters 3. Uh,
That's a good one.
it's Bed Shitters 3 is way better than 1 and 2 combined. But they'll say like, oh, you don't have to pay, and I'll be like, what? I don't have to pay? It's like, well, technically, you're only paying when you come here. You're only paying to use the seat, but you brought your own seat, and I'm like, what?
What
Brought my own
theater?
seat?
May-
Regal
Maybe I should be
and
doing that.
AMC. I've had it done AMC every single. Like, okay, not every single time. They'll be like I'll just go up expecting to pay my ticket. If they say something, cool. If they don't,
They
cool.
always make me pay my
But a lot
ticket.
of times they'll be like, you know what, you don't. You're good. You only it's like a companion law. It's like because he's your caretaker, you only have to pay for one ticket, or because you brought your own seat, you only have to pay for one ticket. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, sure. I mean, like I said, if someone presents me a handicap card, I'll play it, but I don't like playing it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some of the benefits of things, but I mean, like, I'm not necessarily like, I don't go out of my way either. Like, I'm not like, but I mean, if they're offering accommodation for a venue, like, so I can actually see the concert, like, yeah, I'm going to call and get them to accommodate me because I don't know. I want to enjoy it. I want to be able to enjoy it. I don't want to spend money and then waste my time. Um,
Right. Oh,
and
the
that
thing that sucks about that, if you
yeah.
forget
Oh yeah.
and you're like a week before the show, you're like, fuck, I forgot to call them and try and make accommodations.
Yeah.
Then you're just like, oh, someone already beat you to it. And there's always like so few amount of like accommodations they can give people.
Right, but but for years I didn't think I could go to 9:30, and I actually found out I could. Um, don't know when I'll be seeing another show again because COVID and you
I've been to
know
9:30 club without ever calling ahead of time.
yeah. I think usually they're pretty cool. Like I guess
I just went in and just sat in the pit.
yeah,
I couldn't see anything, but
they actually cordoned off a spot for me to kind of chill, and I got to see a decent show. So
of Guar,
War, yeah, I
did,
love
did
those
they throw
guys.
blood on you?
Oh yeah, every time I've gone to see them, I have gotten like completely sprayed. Like, they're great though. Like, I don't even know any of the fucking songs, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just like
Well, they're what's it called?
parody
A
band.
spec. I don't know if I'd call them parody band.
They're a
Um,
spectacle.
that's what I was the word I was looking for. They're a spectacle.
Like, there's just nobody. Like, nobody has the flavor like they do. Like, they have their own thing. They're always about destroying like weird ass creatures or people on stage that they make out of like those like this rubber suits, and then you just get
Really
crazy amounts of blood sprayed all over you. It's not real
nice.
blood, unfortunately.
I what's the word I'm looking for?
I
Well,
don't
their
know.
original singer is dead,
Yeah,
right?
Rocky, whatever his name was. Yeah, he died of like a heroin overdose or some crazy shit like that. They're
Well,
actually
dang.
from Richmond.
Yeah, I've been to the Guar bar.
They also do a they do like a barbecue. It's amazingly helpful to listen
Yeah,
to.
the Guarbecue.
Yeah, no, I definitely love to hear that 710. That's it's definitely what we were trying to go for. Speaking of that, before we ended out, I figured we would should bring up the whole what's the deal with the PS5. I don't know if did either one of you know anything about that at all or see anything. I watched a little bit of the video of that. I don't know. I thought it was kind of neat, but I mean, it's just like I feel like the console wars are just kind of getting. I don't know. It's getting kind of old because
What did that last commenter say?
this is amazingly helpful to listen to, which
Oh
I'm
well,
glad to
well,
hear.
thank you.
Or I don't know. Is anybody in the chat? Did any of you catch the PS5 thing? And
I only saw like I've heard parts of it. I haven't
yeah,
actually taken the time to watch it,
yeah, I didn't. I
to
kind
be
of skimmed
truthful.
it.
I just know that it looks like a clamshell.
I thought it. You know what it looks like to me? It looks like a Alienware PC to me, where it's like
Yeah,
we're going to put a bunch of weird curves, and we're going to charge you more because it's weirdly curved.
yeah.
I don't think that's why I don't know what the price is. I didn't see what it was. I didn't see what their actual starting price was.
Well, I did see something about. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Linus Tech Tips at all.
Oh, I love Linus. He's great.
Yeah, well, he did like an apology video to the CEO of PlayStation because of some remarks they're saying about hard drive performance, and Linus was like running wild on some kind of speculation tip that he was commenting on that wasn't actual the truth, and I
Yeah.
don't know.
I I didn't hear anything about that. I guess he had to apologize for what he
He
missed.
made an apology video and was just like,
Hmm.
sorry, I was speculating on speculation and not talking on the real facts.
Yeah. See, I mean, that's what I like about him is that he's usually pretty straight up when it comes to like if he makes a mistake, he'll own it. Like
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I mean, he is credible though. A lot of his information is very accurate, and one of the things that I like about him is that he doesn't allow just because he's being paid to do a video. Like he'll give the honest review. Like he's going to truthfully, he's not going to do anything where it's like, just because apparently they have like stipulations in their contracts from a video that I watched that he was talking about where it's like if the company won't agree to what they're going to say about the product, then they won't allow, they won't work with them. And there's been some people that they've actually like decided to not work with because they didn't agree to their terms in terms of like being honest with the audience about like what truthful about the product basically and giving a fair honest review.
Right.
Not just because we got paid we're going to say nice things about this. Which I did also look at some of the specs. I did like a compare over here of the
We've also been people who have shit on PlayStation in
yeah.
the past for not pushing a lot of handicap features on them onto the PlayStation, as opposed to Microsoft, where they've been like pretty cool about it.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, it was funny because I'm looking at this and like there's stuff like with a processor for these two units, like the Xbox compared to the PlayStation 5. So the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox both use this 8 AMD Zen 2 CPU. For PS5, it's clocked at variable frequency of 3.5 versus 3.8 on Xbox. I mean, it's like we're talking about decimals here.
But the PS5 also has a faster SSD from what I was
Right,
seeing elsewhere too.
right, because you look at the I/O throughput, which is the read speed, 5.556 gigs a second raw versus to 8.9 gigs a second compressed, and then you look at the Xbox, it's 2.4 gigs a second raw and 4.8 a second compressed. So I mean the PS5 wins out when it comes to hard drive read speed there. So even if you don't know the technical jargon, obviously you can tell the difference in the number. Like, 5.5 versus 2.4. I mean, you can tell there's a difference there clearly in speed. Um, but I mean, it matches up like fairly decent. I mean, there's backwards compatibility, which is like PlayStation didn't do with the PS4, as I recall. But you're going to be able to play PS4 games on this. But um, Xbox is going to allow for Xbox 360, and Xbox One backwards compatibility.
That'll be really nifty.
So that's kind of cool. I don't know. I think they both look ugly, but I think the Xbox is like pretty simplistic. I mean, it's a rectangle.
I mean, is that really like the final design for it though?
I mean, as far as I know, these are the final designs for these
I
systems.
believe so.
I mean, I know the PlayStation 5, that's the design for it because they literally announced it yesterday, but I don't know if there was like Microsoft had like an announcement like PlayStation did.
But what's also
Missing.
interesting is the RAM 16 gigs of GDDR 6 SSD RAM, and then you have for the storage you got 1 terabyte SSD. The expansion slot. This is kind of cool. You have the new like that mini SS. There's these like hard drives that look almost like RAM. That's like
NVMe.
NVMe, yeah, SSD slot. Um, that's kind of neat that they have that. Versus like but you won't get 1 terabyte Microsoft expansion card slot. I mean that's nice that you could get it set up with 2 terabytes off the get go if you wanted to, if you want the drive and so forth.
In my computer, I have 1 terabyte NVMe storage.
Yeah, I need more storage on my computer. Speaking of that, I need to do something about that. Too many games. Too many games.
You can never have too much storage.
We need more, more. But then
Things take up too much room.
when it comes down to the graphics, it looks like Xbox kind of wins at 12.16 teraflops. Although the gigahertz speed of the graphics on the PS5, while it's only doing 10.28 teraflops, I mean it's using the frequency of 2.23 gigahertz, but I don't know if there's a difference with the extra teraflops at a lower gigahertz. I mean, I don't know.
See, that's my real handicap is not being able to stand all that terminology.
I don't completely understand it myself, but I know like the gigahertz, like sort of like I don't know.
I know gigahertz comes to basically processor speeds, and the more cores you have running at the same gigahertz, the more processes your computer can handle and push through. In terms of graphic cards, I don't really know what that means for graphics cards.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it seems like the PS5 might be a little bit more efficient, maybe, at running graphics, but I think it's going to be very incremental. I mean, I think you're going to, I don't know, it'd be interesting once we actually see the hardware out and they do side by side comparisons, like, meaning like you can actually see it running the same game on a PS5 versus a, Series X.
Right.
Or yeah, whatever. I think that's what they're calling this. Yeah, Xbox Series X. Um, that'll be cool. I'm excited to see what they'll do with that, for sure. Um, Also in the chat, like, are we caring about consoles? Do you think the console war is still like I feel like it's still pretty active, guys. I don't know. Um, who cares about this? Like, is what I'm trying to figure out. And are you more Team Sony or Xbox, or do you not care?
Are you asking me at the chat?
I was just asking the chat. I mean, if you have input on it, of course, you're more than welcome to.
Honestly, I don't play consoles because I can't. So I don't. I really don't give a shit. As blunt as that sounds, like.
Yeah, we really need
I mean,
to change
like
that, though.
I give a shit to an extent of like, it's cool seeing all this stuff come out and that it's like then that people have access to it and that people can play the games on them. But when it comes down to my personal preference, yeah, I think that face says it all.
What do you think you're
just
going to? Have you thought about like trying some of the like maybe trying out that accessible controller for Xbox at all? Or
I mean, yeah, I just don't have the time right now.
to really dedicate to it and really put any
No, like
focus?
right now, all I'm doing, as soon as I get off of here, I'm doing schoolwork. Tomorrow, I'm doing schoolwork. The day after that,
He's
I'm
doing
doing schoolwork.
schoolwork until the end of eternity.
I have 2 weeks left, 2.5 weeks left of my summer classes. And right now, and then once I have those 2 months of off of no school,
Yeah.
I don't even want to be inside. Like, I just.
I can't say I'd blame you. I was like that when I was in school too. So
Yeah, school's terrible, man. Why do
Yeah,
people do this themselves?
I don't want to do school anymore. I'm done with school.
I mean, it's cool that I'm like.
But I think it's cool that you're pursuing things. I mean,
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Go for it. But I mean, again, I'm personally done with school. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not opposed to learning. I think we should always learn. I think we should always continue to try to learn things because I don't know. I think as human beings, that's just what we should do. Just to further, I don't know, develop our experience, I guess, or maybe
Well,
have
we're
a better
curious by
understanding.
nature.
Yeah, just keep your curiosity fresh. Let's see. I'm looking at a phone with a TB of expandable memory. Also runs 180 FPS. Mobile gaming is getting stronger. Yeah, I mean, I noticed that being kind of a emerging thing where it's like a lot of people are really into. There's a lot of people that are really into mobile gaming, which when I was growing up, that wasn't even a thing. That wasn't even something that I even was considering. I mean, because you had handheld systems.
Well, that's because the only game we were playing was Snake on our phones.
Or I mean, when it comes to portable games, I was still like Game Boy. Pokemon, you know. Back
Right.
growing up, I mean that was the shit. I also had a Game Gear and other stuff. It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
But it looks like we are approaching the end here. But I figure we have a little bit more time. So if anybody wants to,
Any last minute
Yeah.
questions
I'm
from
kind
the
of quiet.
chat or
I'm
any
kind of
last minute
quiet.
comments?
Let me get
Bef-
let me get a little bit closer then to the mic, if I'm because I moved away there a bit. Because the way I have my camera is kind of I have to turn up like a lot louder to get my mic to pick up. How has
Comments?
how has
Questions?
COVID affected you all?
Miserably. That's how. I'm having to learn online at school, which is my least preferred environment. I prefer to be in person. I don't see anyone anymore. And now I have to wear this ugly ass mustache too for it. For just something I have to live with now. That's how I've been affected, really, just lack of social stimulation and having to
Yeah.
cram. It's forced me into a corner where I have to fight my way out of a corner without knowing when this corner is going to stop being a corner. Does that make sense? Does that
It
answer your
does
question?
completely. I
Just tired of being stuck
understand.
inside.
Your guys' response?
I'm just tired of being stuck in fucking side. Like I like getting out. I mean, I get out. I go out in the neighborhood and shit. But I'm talking about how like I just want to be able to do the things that I used to do. Like going out and hanging out with my fucking friends and just living my life. Like it's just. And I know some people may be more creatures of being at home, but I mean, I feel like even the people that are those type, I feel like it I feel like maybe they're probably like it was nice being it was nice having an option to be able to go out of the house and do things. Maybe they didn't utilize it as much, but I mean, me personally, I'm a social person, so I have to get out of the house, and that's what I miss the most. And I don't know, it's been affecting me in terms of like I have a suppressed immune system, so I got to be careful about going places more so than other people because it's not as easy as me just putting on a mask because it's like putting myself out there at all, even with the mask. It's better to just not put myself out there and risk putting myself in a bad situation. So that's kind of where I'm at on it.
Yeah, and that's also put me in a weird place mentally. I'm very on edge
I'm
and stressed
isolated like a
constantly.
motherfucker, and it's it's just not good.
John?
I'm actually used to the isolation. I'm a homebody. I'm an internet freak. If I could download my brain into a computer and live the rest of my life digitally, I would.
So basically, if you never watched the news or had talked to anyone about COVID or anything, you would have no idea what's going on outside.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. That's that. I found that that's where I vary. Like I differ from a lot of the gaming community that I'm friends with because like most of the people that I know don't like interaction the way that I do. Like they actually don't like it that way. And it's just strange because I feel like I'm kind of like this rare breed or something. But it's actually not true.
Like
It's not
so
true though.
so so for me, I have I don't know if we want to get into too much of this, but I'm a believer in certain more spiritual things.
That's fine. I mean,
And I'm an empath, meaning I can sense emotions very clearly of other people around me.
yeah.
In crowds, that's overwhelming. So I don't like crowds. The best way to avoid crowds, stay inside.
Right. That makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. If if, because just I guess what that means is you can like feel other people's pain, like you were saying, a lot more.
Yeah,
Are you sure you're feeling their emotions, or are your emotions being amplified by the fact that there's people around you and you think you're feeling them?
Or wasn't it? Isn't that kind of the same thing?
Maybe, I
It's a
don't know.
valid question.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is. I'm just like him almost to a T. Really?
And
Okay.
at certain times it's one, and at other times it's the other. I've learned to be
Right.
more
Okay.
in touch with my own emotions, and I can tell when each thing is happening,
Right.
each
Okay.
side of that coin. It's a very fine line, and some people would say that there isn't a way to distinguish between the two sides. I feel there is.
Hmm.
That's an interesting view. Like I'm intrigued by that. It's kind of, I personally, I don't know. I feel like I'm just a social being in terms of just I, I don't know. I need that stimulation, because I don't know, but I don't know. I'm more of like, I guess I'm not as much of a texter as I am like I like calling people up and actually having conversations. Same thing goes in like, well, obviously in real life, there's no other way you're communicating. You're talking to the person. You're in front of them. Like you
Mm-hmm.
use your voice, but I prefer phone calls. But I know some people tend to feel like they like texting more because it allows for them to kind of
I
have
don't
the
like either.
conversation over time.
I
The
like
the funny thing
face-to-face
is,
interaction.
That's what I like
I
the most.
also I also prefer phone calls. Actually, I would rather phone calls over face-to-face interactions because body language does nothing for me anyway, as I can't see it or pay attention to it. So I pick up more in a conversation from a person's voice than I do anything else, being blind.
Right. Okay.
So, like I said, stick me in a glass box, never let me actually see another person, and I'll talk to everybody over the internet all day and be perfectly happy.
Hmm.
Well,
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's odd because here I
Yeah.
am, a Twitch streamer, being in the front of a thousand people. It's odd. I don't mind people looking at me, but I don't want to see them.
Well, I guess you are blessed with the best handicap. I
Yeah.
mean, that's one way to look at it, I guess. But
Yeah.
who brought up that question?
That was 710 boy actually.
Well, 710 boy, thank you for an interesting question. On that note, I think we are here wrapping ourselves up like a condom on a banana.
Yeah. That's.
Don't we should edit that out. That was
That was weird imagery.
I
okay.
wish I still have my I need
Condom and banana.
I need to have my sound effects. For
Oh
that
yeah,
like
that would have been a good. That would have been a good sympathy horn, like wah wah.
yeah, I need to add those. I need to add those back to the stream deck
Or
because
the what's it? The Price is Right one. It's like.
Yeah.
anyways,
Well,
guys,
thanks for tuning in to another episode of Wheel Life Problems. You can subscribe to us wherever podcasts are found, and YouTube now too.
and just hit the follow button
Indeed.
over here because we have moved the show from having its own channel to being part of, I guess, the Wheelchair Gamer family of shows. I don't know.
We've been absorbed.
We've been
Yep.
absorbed because I need to focus on one project as opposed to splitting it all up. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching.
Follow us on Twitter at Problems Wheel. You got me on social media. I'm the Rickles. You got Bill at Wheelchair Gamer, and you got John at Glitched Vision. Thanks again, and remember to keep it wheel. John.
And don't lose sight of the future.
In 2020.
Oof,
Bye
I want to
now,
be said of that right
y'all.
away.